I will say American Red Cross is so proud to be members of the Greater Mount Airy Chamber of Commerce. We've actually been members for the past 27 years and just greatly appreciate all that you do for the community and local businesses. So as Randy introduced me, my name is Kasey Marshall. I'm a Senior Volunteer Recruitment Specialist with American Red Cross, and I just want to thank you all for joining us this morning. I'm excited to be here and provide some great information about Red Cross, our volunteer opportunities, and ways that your businesses can get involved. So let's go over what we'll be covering today. I will provide a brief overview of Red Cross. I'm sure some of you all have heard of us over the years, but a little bit more about that. I am going to go over some critical volunteer needs that we have in Surry County and our blood and disaster services teams, just benefits and ways to get started as a volunteer, and again, ways to get your business or group involved. And as they mentioned, I will be answering questions at the end, so I encourage you to put those in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer those. All right, so let's jump into the mission of American Red Cross. The American Red Cross prevents and alleviates human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. So whether we are helping communities prepare, respond, and recover from disasters, helping to supply life-saving blood to patients in need, or supporting military members and their families, this mission is at the core of what we do. American Red Cross is the oldest nonprofit in the United States, and we will be celebrating our 140th birthday next month. So very excited about that. All right, at Red Cross, we have 7 fundamental principles, and we actually share this with our whole global Red Cross network. So there's actually 173 Red Crosses around the world. Each country has their Red Cross, and we all work together. Basically, the country's Red Cross is going to respond first, and they can call in other Red Crosses to help depending on the scope of the issue. The first fundamental principle is humanity. We are here to meet a person's basic needs when they need it most. Impartiality, we're here to help anyone and everyone. If you're a human being in this world, Red Cross will be there to support you. Neutrality, we do not choose sides. Independence, the Red Cross is not a federal agency. We do maintain our own identity separate from the U.S. government. So we do not receive any funding from the U.S. government. It's just from the generosity of our donors. Voluntary service, this is the one that is most important in my opinion, and that is because 90% of our workforce is made up of volunteers, which is pretty amazing. Unity, the Red Cross must be open to all and must carry on its humanitarian work. And last but not least, universality. All Red Cross societies worldwide share the same responsibility, and that is to help people. All right, so there are 5 areas that the American Red Cross works in today. Our first one is preparedness and health services. We do provide training courses throughout the community, like first aid, CPR, AED. We have babysitting classes, and that's really just to prepare our community when emergencies arrive, make sure our community is prepared. Biomedical or blood services, we do supply 40% of the nation's blood supply to patients in need. Disaster services, we help communities prepare, respond, and recover from disasters. Service to the armed forces, we help members of the military, veterans, and their families prepare, cope with, and respond to the challenges of military service. International services, we do help families that are separated by crises, help to rebuild communities communities that are devastated by disasters. And we also work alongside with health organizations to eliminate global diseases. As I mentioned before, 90% of our workforce is volunteers, and we do have volunteer opportunities in all of these departments. And today I'll be chatting about blood and disaster services in your community. All right, our work does impact lives every day. I won't go over every single statistic on this slide here, but one I want to point out is that every 60 seconds, 63 people are assisted by the American Red Cross, which is pretty amazing. All right, just to kind of bring it down, I've talked a lot about the American Red Cross and where we are worldwide. Surry County actually sits in the Greater Carolinas region, and that is comprised of the 47 Western North Carolina counties and 4 South Carolina counties. You will see on this map that Eastern North Carolina is actually a separate region. However, we work very closely with them, especially when hurricanes hit the North Carolina coast. We often send our volunteers there and open shelters. And then we also open a lot of shelters in our region for evacuees coming from the coast. All right, so as I mentioned before, Red Cross is one of the nation's largest blood collection organizations. They say in this country that every 2 seconds someone needs blood. So I will say that blood donors have a very important role in today's healthcare system. They do help many patients in need with life-saving medical treatments and procedures that involve blood transfusions. This would not be possible without a safe and reliable blood supply from our donors. Every time someone donates, you can help to save up to 3 lives. I will say Surry County is a very busy area in regards to blood drives, which we are so grateful for. Last month throughout the community, there were 16 blood drives. In May, we do have 13 blood drives scheduled throughout the community. So you can definitely visit redcrossblood.org. You can enter in your zip code. You'll see where it is close to you. This has been a challenging area just due to COVID. We've had a lot of blood drives canceled and things like that, but the need for blood is constant in our hospitals, and we do have to meet the patient's needs. So I do want to talk about one of our biggest volunteer needs in Surry County, and that is to be a blood donor ambassador and volunteer at these blood drives scheduled throughout the county. So as I mentioned before, if you join the team, you could sign up for blood drives that work with your schedule. They're convenient to your home. If you've been to a blood drive, what a blood donor ambassador is they're that person at the front desk, and they're greeting and registering blood donors, answering any questions that they have. So it's a really great way to just provide good customer service. They also assist in our canteen area, so providing snacks, making sure people feel okay after they donate. An added step right now, if a volunteer is over 18, they will also help to take temperatures of blood donors entering the blood drive. We are making those as safe as possible with COVID. But as I mentioned, this is a really flexible opportunity, and volunteers can sign up for shifts that work with their schedule. The time commitment is only about 6 hours a month, so you could help out once a month and make a really big difference. You will see that this opportunity is for 16 and older. So if you have any teens in the home, this is a great summer volunteer opportunity for them. All right, so next we're going to discuss disaster response in Surry County. So I do have a map here, which I'll talk about in a moment. But American Red Cross responds to about 70,000 disasters each year during across the country. So this includes house and apartment fires, hurricanes, floods, earthquakes. We just dealt with some earthquakes in Ashe County, tornadoes, other disasters. Every day we truly see the heartbreak of families and communities trying to cope with more intense storms, heavier rainfall, higher temperatures. We're seeing stronger hurricanes and more wildfires in this country more than ever. And unfortunately, a lot of the times it does impact very vulnerable communities that are disproportionately impacted. And the chronic frequency of these events, often help cannot arrive soon enough. So we do have volunteer opportunities if you would ever be interested in traveling to some of these natural disasters. Red Cross does provide free lodging and travel and things like that, if you ever want to step in and help our neighbors in other states. But here in Surry County, we do have a local response team. In this map, you can see Red Cross's disaster response in Surry County over the last 12 months. So I will say that you'll see that there were 29 events in the last year. 4 of those were major storms. The rest of them were home fire responses. The most common thing that we respond to in any community is home fires. You will see that we open 34 cases. So that's oftentimes where we're providing the family with financial assistance, mental health services, health services. We help families, if they have a fire, get back prescriptions, eyeglasses, all those basic things that you really don't think about until they're gone. And we do work with families on an ongoing basis. We have helped about 79 individuals in the county in the past year. So an impactful way to support this disaster response is to join the Surry County Disaster Action Team. We have a local team there that are really the heart and soul of our day-to-day disaster response. And what they're there to do is to step in and really ease the difficulties of people that are unexpectedly overwhelmed by these disasters. Like all businesses last year, we have in the last year due to COVID, we have had to adapt our response procedures. And a lot of our response right now is currently virtual due to the safety of our workforce. So what that means right now is if a family or an individual is impacted, our disaster action team volunteers traditionally would go out to the scene and be side by side with the fire department. Right now, they are following up with the families right away via phone most of the time, and they're there to provide comfort and hope and resources to those impacted. And although we aren't able to provide that warm hug in person right now, our volunteers really do provide compassion and start them on their road to recovery. Whenever I talk to disaster action team volunteers, I mean, really the first thing they say is just, how are you? You know, after a family has been impacted by that emergency. And sometimes families are like, you know, that's the first time someone's asked me that. So it's really just kind of stepping in, providing that compassion. What the volunteer will do is they'll check in with them and complete a client intake sheet over the phone. And that's really to find out what their immediate needs are. As I described before, we can give them financial assistance, get them in a hotel for a few days if they lost their home, get them those basic toiletries and things like that. And we will also we can provide referrals to Red Cross services like mental health, health services, and spiritual care. We also work very closely with many community partners to provide other services. I will say not everything is virtual right now. Depending on the situation, we do have in-person service opportunities. That's definitely very important. We can't do everything virtually. Sometimes we do drive out to the scene and drop drop off contactless delivery of resources like those debit cards they need, toiletries. Also, we call on this team to open and operate a shelter during emergencies. And we also provide canteening services to first responders during an emergency. So this is a very hands-on way to get involved in the community and really be there for people during their times of need. All right, so benefits of volunteering. Volunteers play a critical role in our organization. Without them, we would not be able to deliver key services to serve our community. So you may be thinking, if I became a Red Cross volunteer, how would that benefit me? There are a ton of benefits, but here are just a few. You will meet new people. I will say Red Cross volunteers are some of the best people in the world. I might be a little bit biased, but volunteers do get free first aid and CPR training after they've volunteered for 90 days. It's a true opportunity to make a difference in your community. We do have a lot of skilled roles to build your resume, networking opportunities with community leaders, service learning experience, public speaking skills, and leadership skills. All right, so I just shared some volunteer opportunities with you. If you are interested, I hope you'll take what you learned and make an informed decision if you want to join the Red Cross family as a volunteer. We do have an online application process, so you can pretty much just go to redcross.org/volunteer. You will read and agree to the policies. All Red Cross volunteers do have to do a background check. So for that step, you do upload a photo of your ID or your driver's license. If you're not sure how to do that, I'm happy to help. Complete volunteer screening. Those are just about 9 questions that you have to answer. And then you can start volunteering. Those first 4 steps usually take about a week. And once you get through those, a Red Cross team member will then follow up with you to start training and scheduling. All of our opportunities do have training provided. So I will say, even if you choose not to become a volunteer, another great way to help is just to spread the word about these critical volunteer opportunities in your community. I know you're all business leaders, and if you have social media pages, a place to hang flyers, a newsletter to go out, I would absolutely love your support in spreading the word. Any assistance is truly appreciated. All right, so get your business involved. So at the Red Cross, we are all about being ready when the time comes. It's all about preparedness and being ready to go. We do have a lot of free preparedness education that we can offer groups and businesses. These preparedness programs are national, they're standardized, and they're free for community members. And they're really designed to help people prepare and respond appropriately to emergencies. They are very engaging programs, and they're also an age-appropriate curriculum. In addition to these, if any of you all work with kids, we have a lot of great programs that we can come out and do with kids as well. The first one that you'll see listed is an event that's going on right now, Sound the Alarm. It's one of our biggest annual events. It's been going on all month long, and it will be going on through May 8th. And what this is it's a nationwide initiative to educate 100,000 people across the country about home fire safety. We help families create a fire escape plan, and we also partner with all the local fire departments, and you can get free smoke alarms installed in your home. Since this project started in 2014, where we've been going into at-risk communities and installing free smoke alarms, we know of 864 families that have escaped safely due to these free smoke alarms being installed. So it does work. We've we've actually had about 3 families in the greater Carolinas region that have benefited from that. So if you would like to be involved, this is something you can go to soundthealarm.org. You can schedule a free 20 to 30-minute phone call to educate your family. They're gonna, I swear, even though I worked for Red Cross, I did this and I learned so many new things, but they'll kind of go over with you about the importance of testing your smoke alarms, making sure you have an evacuation route, and just general fire safety messages. They can also get you an appointment with the local fire department to have those free smoke alarms installed. And you really don't think things like home fires are going to happen until they do. So I encourage you to get you and your family prepared. Another program that we can offer group and businesses is Be Red Cross Ready. This program is really designed to teach people how to prepare and respond for the most common disasters in their community. That could be things like hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, tornadoes. Hands-only CPR is a free program that we can offer to businesses. This is not the official CPR certification, but it's hands-only CPR. So it's an abbreviated version. It's basically a 30-minute program to teach you the hands-only technique for CPR. Participants learn how to check for consciousness, call 911, and how to give those continuous chest compressions. So definitely get your group prepared. You never know what can happen. The last preparedness program is a READY rating. This is another 30-minute presentation explaining, it's basically a membership program to help businesses, schools, and organizations become prepared for disasters and other emergencies. So they'll look at what you're already doing as a business and make recommendations to be more prepared. Other great ways to become involved are you can host a blood drive or become a shelter site. Hosting a blood drive is a great way to get your group involved. If you have a large space available, your group can help promote the blood drive. They can also help staff the blood drive that day. So if you're ever looking for a group opportunity, also, if you have a large space and you may be interested in becoming a shelter site, we can send a Red Cross team member out to inspect the space. Basically, what we're looking for are large spaces that can house a lot of people if a shelter needs to open in your community. And we will look for things like bathrooms and a kitchen and things like that. So if you have that type of facility, let us know. We'd be happy to send someone out. And that's just working really closely with emergency management. We have a list of approved shelter sites. So when something happens, we can call on those places in the community. All right. So that's all I have for you today. I do want to thank you all for joining us. We truly appreciate your time and attention. I encourage you to learn, to share what you learned with your friends and family. I hope you'll consider joining Red Cross as a volunteer or helping us to spread the word about our volunteer opportunities, or getting your group or business involved in those preparedness activities. Here at Red Cross, we truly value diversity and inclusion to build a strong workforce to deliver our mission, and we're very excited to connect with you after today. I will conclude with a quote from the one and only Mr. Rogers. When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, "Look for the helpers. You will always find the people that are helping." Oops, I'm sorry. I will say one thing that I didn't mention earlier. I did talk about blood donor ambassador, and our disaster action team. But just know that we have hundreds of volunteer opportunities as an organization that's 90% volunteers. We also have a lot of virtual opportunities that you can do from the comfort of your home, but we're also seeking skilled volunteers to help out with volunteer engagement, casework to support our military. We're always looking for skilled health and mental health professionals, IT support, logistics. So no matter what your skills are, your availability, we can probably find a place for you today. So thank you all again. I feel like everyone can always appreciate a cute dog there, but you will see my contact information on this slide. So I truly hope to connect with you all after today, and we can get started with questions.
Question said, is that hands-only CPR a certified training program? Does it protect you from liability for your efforts?
So it's not you're not going to get a CPR certification. It's just a free program that we can offer the community to make sure people have those basic skills. We do offer the official CPR certification. It is a paid program, and we can go out to businesses and do the official CPR certification if that meets your needs. That's just a free thing that we're doing to make sure more people have the basic CPR skills. So.
Right. I know John asked where your global headquarters are located, and do you use outside companies to deliver supplies to disaster areas?
Yeah, so our headquarters is actually in Washington, D.C. If you ever visit downtown D.C., you can see like the original Red Cross building. And yes, we do have a lot of corporate partnerships, especially during disasters, to help us, with supplies and things like that. Some of our biggest partners are things like Lowe's and Bank of America, Walmart. Those places really do step in and give us a lot of supplies, especially during large scale disasters.
What age do kids have to be for them to get first aid classes?
I think that I'd have to double check. I think the first aid though, is 16 and up.
Okay.
But anyone's welcome to send me an email, or that's my phone number there, and I can get you all the training information.